Thank you. Welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting of May 21st, 2025. May 21st. Oh, okay, sorry. The Wareham Conservation Commission will hold a meeting under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6, and any other applicable laws. All hearings of the Wareham Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Town of Wareham Wetland Protection Bylaw, Division 6. Although a single decision of the Commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. All matters listed may involve a discussion and possible vote. Okay, roll call, please. I'll start with Jessica.
Jessica Park.
Scott Selby.
Paula Jean O'Neill.
Sandy Slavin.
Michael Mercier.
Kwame Barney.
I declare we have a quorum. Before we start, our clerk will not be here tonight, Autumn, so Kwame, I would like to take a motion to to assign Kwame Barty as clerk pro tem.
So moved.
I have that motion.
Second.
And a second, all in favor? Aye.
it.
Opposed, abstained. 500, we have a clerk.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Public hearing, first, Kwame, the first one, please.
Notice of public hearing pursuant to the provisions of Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6. A public hearing will be held in Room 520, Wareham Multicultural Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass., on Wednesday, May 21st, 2025, at 6 p.m. on the request of determination of applicability for Sean Thompson, 25 Washington Drive, Wareham, Mass. 02571, and this is to remove and replace rear deck. It's a 12 by 14, same size and location as an existing. This is on map 53, lot 152, 25 Washington Street, Wareham, Mass.
Make a motion to open the hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, hearing's open. Anybody here representing the project, please come forward. Anybody online? Don't know.
There is someone online.
Please let them in.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Identify yourself, please.
Yep, Dana Pickup, Carefree Homes.
Pickup, was that the last name?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about the project, please.
There's an existing 12 by 14 rear deck that's in disrepair. We're going to remove it and rebuild it same size and location and reuse the existing footings that are on site.
Okay, anything else?
That's about it.
I'll go around. Questions? Jessica?
None.
Scott?
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean?
None, thanks.
Michael?
No questions, thank you.
Kwame?
No questions, thanks.
I have none. Chris? Never mind. I'll get it. Christian?
Oh, Christine.
Christine. Sorry. All right, Christine, any comments on this project?
No, originally it had been stated to expand the deck a little bit. I don't know if you guys still wanted to do that, but
So the plan is to put it where it exists right now?
yeah.
Because, well, I do have one question, though, because if it did expand, then it might impact that tree, correct? Because there's a tree like right next to the current deck,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah, so it'd have to stay at its current footprint, obviously.
Yes, just amazing how many properties down there have all their structures right at the edge of the water. So they've been around for a long time. Okay, anybody in the audience or online to comment on this project? Seeing none and hearing none.
Make a motion to close the
I
hearing.
have a motion to close the
Second.
hearing and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. 500, the hearing is closed. And Christine, your recommendation?
-2, -6.
Second.
That was the motion, and I had a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. the project is done. Dana, don't do any work until you get your paperwork from the conservation agent. Okay? Thank you. Next one, please.
Okay, thank you.
9. This is a request for determination of applicability for Suzanne and Michael Siphon?
Scipion.
Scipion. I'm sorry. And this is on 9 Eagle Way, Onset, Mass. 02558. It's to add an additional 1 foot or so to an existing wall on the beach side, an existing wall on the beach side, an existing ramp and sidewalk that leads into the house. During the January 2024 storms, the water came close to the entering of the house. There's some pictures that were attached. This work will provide additional protection to the home and structure. This is on map 2, lot 56, 9 Eagle Way, Onset, Mass.
I'll take a motion to open the hearing.
Second?
I need a motion.
Motion.
Thank you. Now I heard a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing is open. Please come forward and talk to us about the project, please.
Thank you.
And identify yourself, for those that don't know you.
I'm Michael Scipione, homeowner, along with my wife Sue. And we have an existing wall that runs along the beach, and it's about 2 feet wide, and it sticks up about 1 foot. And during the storms of, not this winter, but the previous January, water came up and over the wall and into the garden, and also came up a ramp that leads into the house. And so we wanted to put an additional foot right on top of the existing wall, dowel it in, just go right up and do a little bit of repair work on the existing wall to tie it all back together. We didn't want to go more than 1 foot because it would kind of look goofy, to be honest, at how it ties in. So at this point, we felt 1 foot would provide a little extra protection for the house and make us a little less nervous. So right in the existing footprint, we're not doing anything else.
Okay, for clarity, homeowner Susan and I have been longtime members of the Wareham Garden Club, and that relationship will not affect my decision in this hearing. Questions? Jessica?
No questions.
Scott?
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean?
No questions, thank you.
Michael?
No questions, thank you.
Kwame?
Was it staked? Because I don't think,
It was just, it
didn't need to be, right?
no, because it was right on top of walls that already
Right.
existed, so there were no stakes there. It was hard to put a stake in the wall
Yeah.
or next to a wall.
Understood. No, there's no questions. Thank you.
Christine, comments?
No, Josh and I actually met him out there to discuss this project before, so we already had our discussions with him.
Okay. Anybody online or in the audience would like to comment on this project? No? No one online. I need a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close the hearing?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendation.
-2, -6.
So moved?
No, I need a motion.
Motion,
Yeah.
So moved in a second. Okay. All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. You have it. Please reach out to Christine before you start the works to get the paperwork, and say hi to Susan for me.
I will, and thanks everyone for, everybody that stopped by and for the help everybody gave me. Some good advice, I appreciate it. Have a nice night.
Me too.
Next, please.
Yep. There's a request for determination of applicability for Casey Larson, 7 Dennis Lane, Wareham, Mass. 02571. Construction of a 20 times 25 garage with 12-inch wide concrete driveway. Roof infiltration units and French drain will be installed to control the runoff. Excessive material will be removed from the site. The lot is located within at the FEMA flood zone, AE 14 and AE 15. This is on map 57, lot 132, 7 Dennis Lane, Wareham, Mass.
I need a motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye, opposed, abstained. The hearing is open. Who's here to represent the project?
Brian Grady, GAF Engineering.
Casey Larson, homeowner.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Okay, well, as read in the advertisement, Mr. Larson is looking to construct a detached 20 by 25-foot garage to the rear of his property with a driveway and associated utilities. We'll have dry wells to capture the roof runoff and an infiltration trench to capture and infiltrate water off of the driveway. The only resource area, this is land subject to coastal storm flowage, elevation AE 1415. The line kind of splits the property. Existing ground is 12 to 13, so we're just barely into the flood zone, but we are in the flood zone. So that's the only resource area, no buffer zone activities or anything of that nature. And if we could answer any questions.
Casey, anything to add? Nope.
Not particularly.
And we'll go around with questions.
No questions.
Paula Jean.
Just one small question. I realize you're putting in French drains and you're going to take care of the runoff, but I wondered if you'd given any thought to a pervious material for the driveway rather than concrete.
I had originally considered pervious material, but because of what I'm maintaining my own vehicles and a couple other things that I own.
I saw
and
that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We're a little rough shape right now.
Yeah.
But I have a Corvette. It's very low, so any pervious material would probably be subject to be moving, and it would be very difficult to get from the driveway that exists to the concrete slab that is the garage itself. So that's really why I went with the concrete. I did narrow it as much as I could to make it, so there's drainage on both sides. It's not going to run up against the house or puddle anywhere, and that's where the French drain came in from front to back.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael.
I got no questions, thank you.
Kwame.
No questions, thank you.
Christine, any comments?
No.
Anybody in the audience or online to comment on this project? I'm hearing none and seeing none.
Madam Chair, I
Yes.
just have one follow-up question.
Yes.
So, is there any slope to the driveway?
There is pitch on the driveway, yes.
And does that run down to the French drain?
Yes, it's cross-pitched to the side, to the drain, yes.
So if there's maintenance on the cars in the driveway and there's fuel, oil, other lubricants, will that wash down to the French drain, and then where will it go from there?
There will be no maintenance done on the driveway itself. It's mostly to drive from the front to the back. All maintenance that would require oil be removed from a vehicle would be done inside of the garage and will be contained with the proper tools to contain it.
No further questions, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Someone please close the hearing.
A motion to close the hearing?
I have a
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. Your recommendation, please, Christine.
-2, -6.
Second?
No, I need a motion.
Motion.
Someone say so moved.
So moved.
Thank you. And I heard a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. It's done. Please don't do any work until you get the paperwork from the conservation agent.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Next, please.
This is a request for a notice of intent for Jeffrey Chalnazowski. Did I say that right? This is for 12 Pine Tree Drive, Buzzards Bay, Mass. The applicant proposes to construct a slope stone riprap seawall to protect the pre-1966 single-family dwelling against coastal storm events. Map 5, Lot LC7, 12 Pine Tree Drive, Wareham, Mass.
I need a motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstain. The hearing is open. And please identify yourself as representing this project.
Madam Chair, for the record, I'm Dave DeVignan from Schneider, DeVignan, Leone, representing the applicant. Well, I don't know the exact way to say it. I think it's Chernowski, but
Okay.
not positive.
Not with the C, huh? Soft S.
You do have the green cards. You want me
I had a tough time recognizing you with the...
No, it's the
Winter-
hair. It's the hair. Clean cut.
Okay, Dave, talk to us about the project, please.
Sure thing. So this property at 12 Pine Tree Drive, will we be putting the plan up, or? It's positioned in the neighborhood where it has there's a vertical bulkhead to the north and a vertical bulkhead to the south. And it has no structure to protect itself. The home and the septic system, which are located between the house and the bank. Currently, the bank is a rolling lawn running down to the beach. There's a nice beach between the lawn and the high water mark, and a beautiful beach in the intertidal zone if you go at low tide as well. There are some patches of salt marsh, some patches of American beach grass out in those areas. The proposal is to bring an excavator in on the right side of the house as you're looking at it from the road, and to build a seawall from one of the bulkheads to the north, working our way to the bulkhead to the south. The seawall will be built at a 1/2 to 1 slope with stone riprap boulders. There's a detail of the cross-section on the plan. We will have the top of the seawall match the vertical walls to the north and the south so that we have uniformity. It will be indented still from the two vertical structures, which jut out quite a bit. The one to the right of the property was a bulkhead that was recently reconstructed in the last year. If you go out there and see, it has a vinyl sheet pile wall. The one to the north is concrete. And given the rise in sea level, the more violent nature of the storms that we're getting, our client wants to be proactive and get ahead of that and build this stone riprap seawall between the two structures that exist. So we'd close it out. We are proposing to, at its closest point, the base of the seawall will be about 5 feet from the seaward edge of the lawn. And all the lawn area that's between what the seawall will be built with its base to the beach would be planted with American beach grass. It flares out on the north and south side, so there'll be quite a bit of beach grass planted. Let me think here. We're well above high water, so we don't need a Chapter 91 license or Army Corps of Engineer permitting. This is a permitted structure under the Wetlands Protection Act because the house predates 1978. I went back to historical photos and found the oldest photo somewhere about 1966. It may have been older, the original house. That house was torn down and rebuilt, I think, in the last 10 or 15 years. We weren't involved in that project. As you can see on the plan, on the seaward side of the house is a patio, and you can see the detail where the leaching field is actually located, just up gradient of the top of the bank. And the septic tank as well is located between the house and the bank. So that's pretty much the project. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right. I'm going to start with Kwame.
Stairs, right? There's stairs that is it going to be pushed forward a little bit more than it is now? Or push out? Because I can't read it.
There are no stairs now.
No, there are no stairs now currently. What you might be seeing is cross-hatching that.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
It's
Yep.
going to be a path between the beach grass. I'll point that out.
They won't hear you on the mic, so just point.
That area right there will be just a natural path of sand running through the beach grass. Some of the pier will have to be removed and then reset to ramp up over the wall. I'm showing that highlighted area darkened. And we are proposing a granite set of steps to the lower side of the pier.
Yeah, that's what I was
But
saying.
currently, they have to rumble down the
Understood.
hill to get there.
No questions, thank you.
Michael.
I do got a couple of questions here. During the construction process, where's all the materials going to be stored?
The only place we have available to us is the upper level of the lawn area. And if there's not enough room beyond that, they have to haul. They'll have to bring it in as they need it, as they can get it in, because there's very little area to stockpile.
All right. And I'm a little bit confused. Maybe you could clarify this for me. Is the wall going to be like one straight, like vertical line matching both the properties on each end? Or is it going to, or basically, where's it going to begin? Does it begin basically at the grass, or does it begin further out, matching one of the properties, neighboring properties? Basically, if I was looking at the house,
Yeah.
does it match the neighboring property on my left or the neighboring property on my right?
As far as elevation?
It's
Well,
basically where,
our plan doesn't show the house to the left.
correct,
but
because the grass is sloped
Yeah.
right now. So
Yeah.
basically, does it begin where the grass ends, basically, and or where the grass meets the beach?
No, we're pulling, the grass that meets the beach is this jagged line.
All right.
That's 5 feet parallel from the wall here, and it actually almost comes out to the angle point of the existing wall.
Okay.
And on this location, the grass comes all the way out to here at the end of where this wall returns. Then there's another timber landscape wall that continues in this direction. So this area that you see my fingers at, that thins out here and then flares back out, that's existing grass that will be removed and replaced with American beach grass and sand.
I think you just answered my next question, because there was some other, like natural beach grass or so on.
That patch is out
That's
here,
it. Correct.
further away.
All right,
Where the lawn, there's about a 10-foot gap between this patch here and the lawn.
all right,
This beach area, we won't be doing anything in. We're actually showing erosion control at the base of the lawn. And then there's another American beach grass patch up here that we won't be touching as well.
all right. Okay, that's all I had, Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Paula Jean.
No questions, thank you.
Scott?
I have some very, I think, simple questions. One is, what do you mean by American beach grass? Do you know the genus and species of that plant? We're trying to get people to, when they come before the board, to not just use a common name, but to use a name that we can verify in the literature.
Okay, I don't know the genus name, but I mean, it's readily used American beach grass. Mostly our clientele get it from Sylvan's Nursery down in Westport, and it's, I mean, it looks a lot
Is it
like-
native or invasive? Is it native?
It's native, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Well, for future reference, please include the Latin name
I will.
for any plants that are included. And if you look at the other documents from the other engineering firms, you'll see that they're providing the Latinate names for these plants.
Understood.
Is there an alternative to polypropylene for that textile that underlies the whole project?
Well, we don't want anything that's going to break down, biodegradable, but, I mean, it's what we commonly use because it doesn't break down.
Well, when it's not exposed to UV light, it doesn't break down. But
Correct.
if there's any exposure to UV light, it will break down. And eventually the microbes will break it down. But it takes a long time, I understand. For those who might not be familiar, this is the same plastic as in milk bottles, milk jugs. Do you know of any alternatives for polypropylene?
I know there are others available. I mean, we could certainly research that. And
It would be my sense, and maybe others, that products made from natural fibers and so on might be preferable if it meets the engineering standards that you need to meet. Maybe I'm the only one who feels like that, I don't know.
No, I feel that way.
But didn't he say that anything else would break down?
Right.
If any natural stuff
That
will
is our
eventually...
natural barrier from sand being pulled out through the pores. If it's biodegradable and that breaks down, then we risk.
Then the seawall, then the stones will collapse because the sand will be flowing out. The dirt will be
That's
moving
correct.
out between the stone.
That's correct.
Anything else, Scott?
I'm not sure. Can you come back to me?
If I remember.
Okay.
Jessica. Okay. Now, all the vegetation that exists now on the beach will stay.
That's correct. We're not going beyond the limits of the
And-
lawn as it exists.
The new granite steps, you have it proposed crushed shell footprint to go across the beach at the end of those steps?
No, it's not.
Did I misread it?
Oh.
Proposed crushed shell foot,
It's a footpath being proposed within the existing lawn area, where the lawn will be stripped out, crushed shells will be placed for a footpath as its replacement, and that's a path between the new American beach grass being planted.
okay. How many high tides will it take to wash all that crushed stone away? That crushed shell away? It won't, I mean, they're
You will be-
putting in this riprap because of the storm surge coming in Butler's Cove. Which means this shell walkway will soon disappear if there's any type of high tide or force coming in, correct?
Yes, that's possible.
So this is just a temporary fix. Does it mean they'll come back every time there's a storm and ask for a new shell pathway?
You can write it in your order that if it disappears, it shall remain sand. That's,
Okay.
sandy path is more than adequate to get to through that little stretch to get to the beach.
Now, beautiful lawn. And I'm just thinking how much fertilizer is needed to keep that lawn as beautiful as. You're going to be doing a lot of disturbing to that grass. And I'm going to make sure everybody understands the order of conditions limits the type of fertilizer that can be used on that grass, on that lawn. So I come back in a year and I don't want it to look like a fairway. It should be looking more like a New England lawn as opposed to totally manicured.
So just to clarify, what you mean by a New England lawn is a collection of weeds that we periodically mow?
Yes, as opposed to what they have to do in order to maintain this beautiful, well, let it be what it is. I mean, our order of conditions say for low nitrogen, slow releasing low nitrogen is our order of conditions. And your homeowners need to know that whoever is maintaining their lawn, they have to reduce the amount of nitrogen they're putting into the water with their fertilizer. I think, was that the lawn, the vegetation on the beach, the crushed stone, the crushed shell path will not be replenished if lost. And I've always called it Butler's Cove. When did it become Peter's Cove?
Oh, the survey plans show a variety of.
Names? Okay, that's why you got both of them in there.
That's correct.
I grew up with Butler's Cove. There's just not a whole lot of wave action in there. They're really tucked in there tight in the corner. And it has to be coming right in from the Mass Maritime to go into them. Yeah, so, but it's because of their neighbors having solid seawalls that feel they'll be scoured out. Okay, anybody else? Any other questions?
That was really my question, was normally when we see armoring, like either side, property either side, we see scouring of the beach, but we don't see scouring in this case, we see deposition. So it's clear that the beach is building up there. So maybe this is a silly question. Are the property owners sure that they want to armor that property, considering they're not get scouring, but they're getting buildup?
They came to me with the project, and I explained, they know that this is a costly project. They understand the costs, but they feel it's the best way moving forward protecting their property given what the abutting property owners have.
Yeah, without any hydrology study, I mean, they may end up scouring their beach from putting armoring in like this.
Well, they could. They could. Okay, Christine, any comments on this?
You guys are doing the erosion control right at the edge of that lawn, and then you're,
Yes.
all right, and so the 265, you had temporary cleanup on the coastal beach? Is that just for the beach grass?
You're not touching that beach grass that exists now, are you?
No. What, I'm sorry,
I was reading the notice of intent, that's why.
okay.
All right, so it looks like the wall's coming up a little bit further, and then you have part of the lawn that you're basically converting into beach.
Yes, we do have identified 265 linear feet because we have to put the the erosion control just outside of the lawn area. So technically, it's just into the beach. So we'll have a strip that we'll have to, then pull the fence out afterwards and rake and clean it up.
Okay.
I have one question. The topsoil and grass, what's going to happen to it?
Load it into dump trucks and remove from the site.
Oh, any chance of recycling it as somebody else? Because I'm sure it's good lawn and good, they could make plugs of grass, cut it up and sell it for somebody else. Anyway, so it will be removed,
Yes.
and you'll bring in sand. What type of sand?
We have identified as, what will happen is the sand that's brought in, there'll be a sieve analysis of
Okay.
what is brought in to match a sieve analysis of the existing beach material.
So what will go under the stones will match what's on the beach?
Well, not under the stones, in the strip where we're planting American beach
Oh,
grass,
okay.
that is lawn. That
Thanks.
area will be removed of topsoil and the lawn itself, and then we'll replace it with sand of compatible grain size and texture.
So 5 feet of lawn seaward would be removed and replaced with compatible sand.
And
Okay,
that 5-foot stretch is between about 5 feet north of the pier and that strip, and then it expands. It's
and
actually
that's where
more
you're
than
going to
5.
be
Yes.
planting
The beach grass, yes.
Beach grass.
So the intent is to strip all topsoil out, bring in the sand, and then plant the beach grass.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody online or the audience would like to speak to this project? I'm seeing none. Any other questions on the board, commission, whatever we're called? Okay.
Make a motion to close the hearing?
Thank you. I have a motion to close the hearing, and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
500. The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendation?
Standard order conditions with the stockpiling being as far from the resource area as practicable. And, where is it? The crushed shell path won't be replaced if it's lost.
Okay?
Okay.
And just reduce your amount of fertilizer, sorry.
Right.
All right,
So moved.
I have that
Second.
motion, and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. You're done.
Thank you for your time.
See Christine for your documentation before you start to work.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank
Everybody
you.
have a good night.
Night.
You too.
Next, please.
It's a request for a notice of intent for Mark Backstrom, 35 Farmers Lane, Wareham, Mass. This is shed construction and yard clearing at 35 Farmers Lane, Wareham, Mass. The project involves the construction of 24 times 14 shed and selective vegetation clearing for landscape improvements at 35 Farmers Lane. A single-family residence property in Wareham, Mass. The proposed shed will be constructed on crushed stone foundation approximately 65 feet south of the existing dwelling and entirely outside the 30-foot no-activity zone. Additionally, vegetation will be cleared in the northeast portion of the property outside the 30-foot no-activity zone to establish gardens, lawns, and landscape areas. The proposed activities lie within a 100-foot buffer zone of bordering vegetated wetland, BVW. All work has been designed to comply with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Wareham Wetlands bylaw, with measures taken to minimize potential impacts to protect the resource areas. And this is on map 93, lot 1018-2, 35 Farmers Lane, Wareham, Mass.
Need a motion to open the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? The hearing is open. And who's in front of us regarding this project, please?
Good evening. My name is Hazem Dani. I'm the civil engineer for the project, here with the applicant.
Mark Backstrom.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Hazen, could you spell your last name slowly for me?
Dani, D-A-N-I.
Thank you. All right. Talk to us about what you want to do or not do.
So the site located at the 35 Farmers Lane consists of about 200,000 square feet. It's a huge lot. However, the existing single-family home occupies a small portion of the lot to the northwest corner of the lot. There's an existing septic system that also kind of to the northwest corner of the lot. There's an existing deck and driveway also located on site. The applicant wishes to construct a shed that will be located behind the house, approximately 65 feet from the house. And the shed will be 14 feet wide by 24 feet in length. It will be constructed on gravel base. We have located the proposed shed outside of the 30-foot no-touch activity, or no activity zone to the nearby border and vegetated wetland. With that, there will be some selective clearing in the backyard to create additional lawn area and also to allow for the construction of the shed. To the northeast portion of the lot, the applicant also wishes to clear some of that area to remove some of the trees and maybe the brushy planting over there, also outside of the 30-foot no-touch zone to create additional lawn area, and also that area will be used for raised bed gardens that the homeowner can benefit from. And again, we kept all of the activities outside of the 30-foot no-touch, and we will be installing filter sock along the clearance limit to mitigate any runoff during construction. And again, this will be minor regrading activities for the most part, and all of the disturbed areas will be loamed and seeded right away.
Before we question, what size area are you going to be clearing trees from? How many square yards or feet or something with both projects? You're going to do a lot of tree clearing, correct?
I don't have the exact number, but in the back area, it looks like it's about 1,000 square feet, and in the front to the northeast corner of the lot, it looks like it's about 3,000 square feet of an
Okay,
area.
thank you. Oh,
Yep.
questions? Jessica? Thank you. I'm Kwame.
So for your barriers, you said you were going to use some kind of, you're going to use silk fence stock, and you're going to use hay bale, correct?
My apologies. I'm looking at the plan right now. It's a silt fence.
Oh, it's only silk fence?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Michael?
No questions, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Paula Jean?
Just to clarify, when I looked at the property with you, we went along the edge of where you wanted to clear some trees, and my understanding is, just to confirm, it's not any clear cutting you're doing. You were going to selectively get rid of some invasives and
Correct.
odd trees here and there?
Correct,
Is that
along the
correct?
road. I'd like, at some point, to do some selective clearing. In the back, it would be clearing
Okay.
everything, which is the smaller area of
Yeah.
the two.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Scott?
So, we often hear people talk about the 30-foot no-activity zone. But you must be aware that under the state law, it's actually 100 feet. So 30 feet's no activity,
Correct.
and 100 feet is restricted other than minor activities. And I'm reading right from the law, right here. This doesn't seem to me like a minor activity. So can you justify why this major construction, this construction activity should be approved within this buffer zone? And please talk about alternative locations and so on, and why, and really try to make an argument to us why we should put the law aside and allow this to happen.
Understood. So my understanding of the law that activities such as construction of a single-family home or construction of a shed is allowed within the 100-foot buffer with the filing of a proper notice of intent. And that's why we're here. We filed a notice of intent for the proposed activities. We did not classify the project as minor activities. All I said is minor grading that will happen within the project area. But it's not a minor activity by any means. It's certainly a project within the buffer zone. And as you can see, if you're looking at the plans, you will see that the 100-foot buffer encompasses the entirety of the property area where the homeowner could potentially put a shed anywhere on the property. So whether we put it towards the back or to the side or to the front of the house, it will still be located within the 100-foot buffer. It's preferably to the homeowner that it's located towards the back, tucked to the back. But again, we kept it outside of the 30-foot buffer to comply with the local bylaw.
Anything else?
No, thanks.
Back to Jessica. If I look at this plan, it says proposed tree line limit of clearing. So if we approve this project based on this plan, you may take your time, but you would be allowed to clear all the way back to the hard line that you put on this plan for proposed tree line limit of clearing, correct?
That is correct. That's the intention of the plan, to clear up to the line shown on the plans.
For both for the shed and the planting gardens.
Correct.
So you think about 4,000 square feet of clearing?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, because it's hard to believe you're going to do a little clearing in order to get a raised bed when you're going to want the sun coming from the south and the east. So that's a lot of tree clearing, even though it might not be solid trees, it might be underbrush, it might be invasives, it's still clearing. I wonder if we should limit the amount of clearing based on what you've just suggested, that there would be limited clearing.
Can I speak?
Yes, please.
So,
Yes.
when I had the wetlands delineated, I found out that I had what I thought was more usable room in the back. So the northeastern part of the property became less of a priority for me. So if there was selective clearing or no clearing for that northeastern part of the property, I wouldn't have an issue with that. But clearing in the back
Yep.
is significantly
Yes.
more important to this project for me, because there's really no backyard as it is, and there's really no usable place in the front because I have a propane tank, a driveway, and then that's all an easement with the neighbor on the northwestern part of the property.
Will you be removing some of those stone boulders that are between the house and the proposed shed?
I think they're going to get repurposed as a boundary along the edge of the 30-foot. I think that's the idea, the intent with those boulders.
I was just thinking maybe at this time, we talk about what we would allow for the shed and not so much the clearing, which quite extensive for the raised beds. Any discussion on it? No? So you want to approve the plan as it is with all that clearing?
I'm sorry, we were looking at the plan, just the lot line, understanding the lot line. Because I think that wasn't entirely clear just from the plan that this is actually your lot line, that the entirety of your parcel is within this buffer zone.
It is.
Yes.
Right.
So over here to the left is actually the neighbor. I'm sorry, I missed some of what you were saying, Sandy.
Well, if you take a look at what is proposed clearing, I understand why he needs it in order to put the shed behind the house, but there is a tremendous amount of tree clearing being proposed, not just by the three raised beds, but all the way over to the right along the property line. That's a lot of, proposed tree line limited clearing. You can see where the trees are, the lighter little squiggly lines, and the heavy squiggly lines is where the space he wants to clear.
Can you accomplish your goals without clearing all of this in the front along the road? And you were able to accommodate the shed. Does all of this along the road need to also be likewise cleared to that same extent?
It doesn't have to be. That's kind of what I was getting at, too, is with finding out I had more space in the back, if I was granted that, I wouldn't really have to do anything whatsoever along the road. The one thing I would ask is about maybe selective, like there's so much overgrowth in there, it's a disaster along the road. So I don't know if that could be written into like vegetation and overgrowth, but, excuse me, with respect to actually clearing that whole portion of the northeastern part of the property, I would have no issue with not touching it really whatsoever with respect to the trees, but maybe some basic cleanup or something would be nice, because it's very overgrown and to the point where it's coming into the street at this point. But to answer your question, yes, I think that with the back, it would be certainly sufficient. The raised beds that I had proposed, originally I didn't know there was as much in the back. Those could be moved to the back with that expansion. The shed would have a place back there. In the front along the road really wouldn't have to be touched at all.
Other than selective clearing and invasive removal.
If allowed, yes, yeah.
Any other comments, Christine? Your
Oh, sorry.
comments?
That is quite a bit of trees, just like you guys have all said. But if you're amenable to not clearing the front, I'd be okay with that.
So we're talking, if I'm listening, I'm hearing that the shed, the area behind the house, in order to put in the shed, would accommodate the raised beds, and the clearing, tree clearing, in the northeast corner would be turned into a selective clearing with removal of invasives. Am I hearing that?
Yes.
Can I make one other comment or question? So we're flowing over into removing the invasives. Would you be intending on using anything like Roundup to do that, or would you be using handwork?
It'd be handwork, all handwork probably over the next 3 years.
None of that? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you've noticed he certainly likes his trees, because he's got his well-protected fruit trees trying to grow. All right. Anybody online or in the audience to comment on this project? I'm seeing none.
Motion to close the hearing.
Thank you.
Second.
And I have a motion to close the hearing and a second. All in favor? Aye, opposed, abstained. The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendations.
A standard order of conditions with no tree clearing to be done near the road, aside from the selective clearing and invasive removal.
Okay,
So moved.
thank you. A motion and a second. All in favor? Aye, opposed, abstained, 500. You got it with the modification to what you're going to do in that northeast corner.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next, please.
Madam Chair, I can read the notice of intent, but I cannot speak beyond any questions because I'm on a
Okay, we'll open the
butter.
hearing and you will leave.
You're gonna force me to leave?
Yes. Why you?
No, I'm just joking, Request for notice of intent for Hayden Gallagher, 44 Registered Road, Marion, Mass. 02703. 703. The applicant is proposing to construct a single-family dwelling, deck, and perform associated grading. Portions of this work will occur within the buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland adjacent to the Tremont Pond. Erosion control will be placed at the proposed limit of work, and this is on map 100, lot 1039E and 1039F, 24 Weaver Street, Wareham, Mass.
Okay, let the minutes reflect that Kwame has left the table at 6:50, and I make a motion to open the hearing.
Motion to close the hearing, motion to open hearing, motion to open hearing, rather?
Yep.
Unless I close it.
No, open.
Did you get a second?
I
or
did not.
No, okay, there you go.
I have a motion and a second to open the hearing. All in favor? Aye, opposed, abstained, with 400 to open the hearing. And who is here to represent the project?
Good evening, Brian Grady with GAF Engineering, here for Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Gallagher is looking to construct a single-family home with a detached garage and apartment above. At this location, portions of the work occur within the buffer zone to a fringe wetland to Tremont Pond. Detached garage, the driveway are entirely outside of the buffer zone. We've pushed the leaching field as far away from the pond as we can. It's approximately 180 feet. Septic system will have a nitrogen-reducing treatment technology in there. Only a small portion of the single-family dwelling and portion of the rear deck falls within the buffer zone. There is some clearing associated with it. For those of you who've been there, there's not a lot of trees on the site, but what ones are there are large. So there's some concern about a fall zone in the future. So we've kind of set the limit of the work around some of those large trees so that they come out and don't pose a danger in the future. But we are outside the 30-foot no activity zone, approximately, actually 50 feet from the wetland. We're looking at the limit of work being at the closest, approximately 50 feet to that adjacent wetland. We are proposing a siltation fence with a straw wattle for erosion control. And if I can respond to any questions.
Now, this is up against Tremont Pond, and it's not considered Weevantic at that time?
Correct, it's pond at that location, correct.
I knew most-
Yeah.
Being a little proactive on that question?
Yes. It's nice to see some water there, because earlier this year it was really drained. Okay, questions. I will start with Michael.
Okay, looks like there's a driveway going on, leading up to the property anyway. Will any impacts to those trees, shrubs, or whatever, be made during the construction process?
Not on either side of the project. Water line exists from the street back to the rear of the property. There is a water line. We believe the electric has already been put in. We haven't confirmed that. But there should be no alteration of any trees on either side of the driveway coming up.
All right. Also, will there be any, will there also be any, let's see, impacts to endangered species as well in this area, or not?
This isn't mapped habitat, no.
Okay. That's all I have at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Paula Jean.
No questions, thank you.
Scott.
Brian, do you know what kind of IA system they're planning to use?
The microfast
Any more details than that?
at 0.75 would be the model.
Okay. No further questions, thank you.
Jessica. Dry wells. Water retention plans for the runoffs for both structure.
Well, not showing any. The detached garage is well outside the 100-foot buffer.
I know, I can't see anything about that.
We could add some on the back of the single-family dwelling. We could put some dry wells in for the rear of that.
Because there is a depression, right? The lower, so it does,
It's an odd
Little-
site. It looks like someone's done some miscellaneous digging out there
Yeah.
with, I don't know, with hand dug. So there is a depression between the house and the pond. So yeah, you did notice that. I noticed that as well, so.
I just didn't want it running off and puddling there. If we can control the runoff from the roof. then
Well,
it
it
could-
would go in that natural depression and
Yeah.
then infiltrate. So that would give you more filtering than digging a hole in the ground, putting dry wells in, and then infiltrating it.
But you have to worry about your septic system too in that same area.
The dry wells wouldn't impact it.
No, where if you don't put in runoff goes into that depression, that's where your septic system's going.
Oh, you're talking in the front?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
I
there's
know
also
it's outside of what we can talk about, but
Yeah. Yeah, that won't impact the sewage disposal system,
Okay.
no.
yes, so, all right. Anybody online or in the audience to speak to this project? Christine, your comments, please?
The one thing I would say is maybe to expand the erosion controls a little bit.
Yeah, we could push that northern one a little bit further.
All right. Seeing no comments or anything else?
Motion to close the hearing?
Thank you.
Second.
Second, motion to close the hearing, and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, the vote is 4-0-0. And Kwame, you can come back. Okay, so your recommendation, please?
Standard order of conditions with dry wells for the single-family home and extended erosion controls.
Okay, that's the
So-
motion, that's the
so moved.
motion? And then I need a,
Second.
I have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, 4-0-0, you got it?
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll just make sure that Christine gets an updated plan showing the dry wells and the expanded area for the
Yes.
erosion control. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one we have is a continued hearing for 915th Street. They wanted withdrawn, but we asked for it to be in writing. Did it ever come?
Not yet.
Not yet, so please keep it on the agenda.
Yes.
No action. Waiting.
Can I ask one question about that? I know we're waiting for something from them, but hadn't the project already been begun? Hadn't some of the steps were already begun, right? I just was remembering that as I looked back through November and
They
everything.
dug a hole,
There
they
was some-
started digging.
Yeah, okay.
So to me, this is what they have.
Right, I've been there. I went back to look again and saw,
Yeah,
saw all
so,
of
I
that.
mean, part of it is that they will remove what they put up, and they will fill the holes that they dug.
They'll undo it.
They will
Okay.
undo what they did,
Okay,
but they want to withdraw,
okay.
and we want that in writing that they're withdrawing, so we can condition the return of the site.
I know
The
we're-
next one is, 28 Nelson Street. McKinnon.
Yes.
Here again.
And I'm sorry you're missing dinner.
Yep. Attorney Jillian Morton, 184 Main Street. We are here again for 28 Nelson Street. Last we met, you had some concerns, and we talked significantly about the CMRs. So we went to make sure that you had the updated plans. I want to make sure you have them. They should say the latest revised 5.5, correct?
Right.
Okay. So on that, and I can let the engineer speak to, specifically, we kept the same footprint. And I also, in the email, which hopefully Christine sent around, that you saw, it saw the renderings of the actual proposed improvements to the project and what we're looking to do with the cantilevered decks and things. So we're happy to answer questions. I know the big concern from the wetlands expert was the fact that if it's not on the same footprint, it's considered new construction, so we've changed that, and it is the same footprint.
And your name, please.
Jeff Youngquist, Outback Engineering.
Okay,
Basically, what we're doing is putting pilings in, raising the structure above the floodplain and in the same footprint. We have cantilevered some steps around the structure, so we have a secondary entrance to it, too. But basically, the new structure will be exactly where the old structure is.
certainly not part of us to say anything about being built on a paper road. I guess that's another department, another hearing, right?
Yeah, we tried that route and didn't want to do it that route, so, because it's moving towards the wetlands, so that was actually our first plan.
I know,
if
you
recall.
wanted away out of the road and,
Yeah, we did move the utility room, though, so.
you know, so we can't, we're not here to talk about whether or not it would be permitted for matching its footprint, but here to only talk about putting this property, this structure on the existing footprint, even though it was nothing more than, what, cement bricks?
The pilings, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's a little wood, oh, yeah, they were in the ground. I'm surprised they're still standing. Okay, that was my comment, sorry. Questions, we'll start with Kwame.
Ah, put me right on the spot.
I did, because Jessica's going to say, come back to me.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
your peer review consultant is online.
Oh.
And he has reviewed the plans. If you'd like to hear his maybe altered opinion.
yes, please. I didn't realize he was here.
Yeah, I'm online, everyone. Brandon Fanoff with Ecosystem Solutions. Can you hear me all right?
Yes,
Okay, good. Well, I've had limited amount of time to review the plans because I just received them yesterday afternoon. I really don't have that much to add at this point. I see that it is, comparatively on the same footprint with some other tweaks and adjustments. But again, I haven't had enough time to really sink my teeth into it and give you a full opinion.
well, I'm going to ask, Jeff, what's the difference between what we've seen in the past? You just put it on the exact same footprint, right?
Exactly the same footprint.
From what we've seen in the, okay.
Before, we had it moved. It's the exact same footprint of the building, but we had it moved onto the lot.
And Brandon, your response that we have on January 27th was based on the previous plans to move it away from the street, right?
Correct, to make it more conforming with zoning, and my opinion was that it's no longer on the same footprint, which means that it should be considered new construction, and it's new construction in a BVW, which would make it very difficult to permit. I would like to write you a new report based on my thoughts on the revised plan, but again, I just received it yesterday afternoon.
Okay. These plans are from May 5th, so you responded to the March 10th version. No, you responded to the first version because your report came from January 27. Okay. All right, so, Josh, I understand, if we are going to ask our consultant to review this, we're going to have to continue.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on the revised plan from May 5th?
I do.
Well,
I know you're shocked by that.
I'm going to start with Kwame.
Okay.
You'll get your-
You said anybody.
Well, I'm going around.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, can we all agree that this is on wetland, and how did it actually get permitted in the first place?
How old is this?
Probably an old property,
Yeah.
though.
How old
That
is this?
was probably
How old is the site?
permitted way before.
Predated.
How old is the building that's on there?
I don't have that data off the top of my head. I know, I'm
I mean, if
probably-
I had, if it
Early
was me,
1900s.
I mean, it was like, you know, I mean, you have a house, I mean, if I own the property, I have the house there, I want to do something, I get it. But right now, I just feel that with our bylaws, and plus the mitigation that has to happen around the areas, it's not a question, it's actually a little concerning. So that's all I have to say.
It's certainly more than
Madam Chair.
probably 50 years old.
Well, I think it's
I'd say
Yeah.
all of
Madam Chair, the house was built in 1930.
1930. Oh,
Right.
you need a historic commission to approve demo. That's another issue. Okay, Michael?
Well, it's kind of like the same thing Kwame was saying. You know, it's like a 90-year-old house. I get it, but you also see in the photos, you got water right next to it. It's a kind of
Yep.
basically sitting in wetlands, but that's all I got to say at the moment.
Paula Jean?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment in that I strongly feel the same way, that it's clearly in wetlands, and we're not allowed to permit new construction in a wetland.
But if they use the existing footprint, it's not new construction. That's the stand, right? It's, by putting the existing footprint, it's not new construction.
Yeah,
It's replacing what's there.
remodeling. Remodeling.
Don't go there.
I mean,
Okay.
how specifically in the old footprint? I mean, has anyone been down there with a micrometer, or, I mean, you know, at what point do we verify the exact dimensions?
yeah, I mean, that's up to you as a board, right? That's a balance between the property
It's
owner's
tricky,
rights
yeah.
and not arbitrary and
It is.
capriciously saying
It
you
is.
can't build there. So it is a balance for you as a commission. I'm happy to continue it to allow the peer review. We did send that in on the 12th, just to put
Yeah.
that out there. But I understand he just got it now, so perhaps
wait.
he can take a look. And that's within your view to have your consultant be able to review it.
Of course.
And I just would like the opportunity to respond, because I do believe that the regulations allow us to remodel this.
All right. Scott? your
Madam
turn.
Chair?
Yes.
If it would be helpful to you, it would also be helpful to me. There's a letter that goes along with the revised plans, and I was wondering if the applicant's representative could just go over the things outlined in their letter, you know, while explaining the changes that would happen on the plan. I was wondering if they could just, you know, go through it all to explain it.
Scott, can you hold your questions until Julian can respond to that on the May 12th, 25?
Yeah, I mean, the document speaks
Yes.
for itself. I think you guys all read through it, and he's going to be able to review it. I'm happy to do that, but obviously, the utility room is being relocated. I told you about the cantilevering of the stairs. And so, you know,
The only reason I would like to ask it is so that it could be addressed at the same time, so that we wouldn't have to continue it to answer my question the next time.
I definitely want him to ask this question.
Yes. Brandon, did that respond from Julian help you?
Well, basically, I heard that the letter speaks for itself, and I should just go through the letter.
Okay. Okay, Scott, your questions.
So my question is about what footprint means. So you have stairs that are cantilevered over area that was not part of the footprint. So I don't know if there's anything in the building codes or case law or anything that addresses what footprint means. So does footprint mean it has to go all the way down and be embedded in the ground? Or does footprint mean any area of the ground that it covers? So, you know, we're talking about shading or whatever. So I just would like to have some clarification on whether cantilevering is part of a footprint or not. Is that fair?
I'm very happy you asked that question, and I will give you information to review.
It's just because I'm ignorant in this area, and
Yeah, I'll look at building code and other case law to, which correlates with your authority to.
So you can, at the next meeting, you'll have a
gonna-
response.
I'm going to have a response.
so, yeah, as an example, so if there was a setback, for example, and a cantilevered area was over that setback, would that be allowed by building code? So there must be something out there about that kind of thing.
Sure, I'm happy to provide documentation to you, so you can review that.
Thanks.
Before as well.
That wasn't too bad, was it, Madam Chair?
No.
Okay.
Jessica?
I wasn't here for the meeting in January, so I'll go back and review it so that I can participate.
Thank you. Because we've had a lot of, there's been more than one meeting, so, yeah. So in order to, you'll review and document that you've seen the minutes that,
Is it possible to, which dates are they? Just so I can be sure I was here for each one.
I'm trying to think. Christine, can you provide Jessica with the dates in which we had hearings on this particular? I know it's been on a lot of agendas, but we didn't always have a hearing.
Yeah.
So Christine will give you the dates for you to review the TV recordings and the documents to sign that you've seen them. Okay. Josh?
I have a bunch of questions. Is the 573 square feet of permanent alteration of the roadway being removed from the project? That was in your original
Right.
proposal.
That's just grass, existing grass access to remain as is.
Okay, thank you. I would like to run through the construction process that was provided from the builder and just get an idea of some of the impacts of that. So number one, stake out the house and the silt fence, install the silt fence, clear 15 feet around the house. What is being cleared in that 15 feet?
I'm going to have to, I don't believe the builder is here today, so I'm just going to write down your questions if that's okay, so I can have full clarity from him, but I will get those answers in my response.
Okay, install a dewatering area. I don't think that was ever addressed on the plan. I'd like to see where that is being proposed. Number 5, excavate the footings and dewater said footings. I'd like to know the depth of the footings and the depth of groundwater at the site. It says install water and sewer lines. I'd like to see exactly where the existing water and sewer lines are and where they need to be installed going up to the house. Backfill and regrade, I'd like to see what the extent of regrading is. And then you have build the home, obviously. Install landscape and plantings. I don't see any plantings proposed on the plan. And then remove the silt fence once the ground is stabilized. Okay, so those were some of the questions I had for the actual construction process. As far as building code is concerned, I don't know the answer to this, but it appears that both of your egresses combine into one set of stairs before they actually hit grade. Does that constitute a second egress? My only thought on that is if there's a fire on that first set of stairs, your egress is one staircase. Again, probably a building code question more than here, but I think if it doesn't constitute 2 egresses, your plan is going to change.
Ms. Morton, I couldn't keep up with Josh. Is there anything you need?
No,
read?
because we can also watch the recording, but I took notes.
Okay, God, you were fast.
Sorry.
I ran out of
I'm not done.
energy to write, you just kept.
A few things for the commission to consider. 310 CMR 1055-4 states that any alteration to wetlands requires mitigation. There's no mitigation proposed on the project. Your definition of alter under your bylaw has a few different definitions. Changing of pre-existing drainage characteristics, which improvement or an expansion of this site would do. Drainage or other disturbances of water or the water table, that is definitely something that's going to be impacted only because it appears that the existing home is on like cinder blocks and maybe a couple of pilings. Very questionable. And then alter also is defined by driving piles, erecting, or repairs of a building. Excuse me. Section 7 of your bylaw, permits and conditions. Under number 2, the commission is empowered to deny a permit for failure to meet the requirements of this bylaw. And for 1, it says failure to avoid or prevent unacceptable, significant, or cumulative effects upon the resource area, which I'll remind you, this project is entirely in a resource area. And then section 7, number 4, states, to prevent wetland loss, the commission shall require applicants to avoid wetland alteration wherever feasible. It seems pretty impossible on this project. And shall minimize wetland alteration, and where alteration is unavoidable, shall require full mitigation, which no mitigation has been proposed for this project. Scott, to your question, the zoning, when we look at things such as encroachments into rear and side setbacks, the eaves of a house are considered an encroachment into the setback, which they do not have any tie to the ground, but are still considered part of the structure and an encroachment. So I don't think it's unreasonable for you to accept that a cantilevered addition or staircase or anything else would not be considered an improvement or expansion. And I mean, if you were going off of the cantilevering argument, that could go as far as to say you could build decks over salt marshes, and the implications of that are pretty boundless. But that's just my thought.
Anybody else for commenting on this online or in the audience? So we are going to request a continuance, and Ms. Morton, when do you think would be a good continuance? Next meeting?
I think you might want to ask the peer reviewer as well. I know that you like it.
I keep forgetting Brandon's there, sorry.
Yeah, I know you like it a week ahead, your documents at least, so.
Brandon?
When's the next meeting?
June 4th?
So that gives me 1
June
week to
4th?
get you the report. Yeah, I can do that. I can get you a report by next Wednesday.
Okay.
Yep.
Jillian, you probably want some time to
Yeah, I
respond
was
to
just
his
gonna say.
report.
Yeah.
So we're talking June
18.
18?
Sure, that works.
Brandon, all right, June 18th?
Yes.
Ms. Morton, 18th?
Yep.
Jeff, 18th?
It's fine with me.
Okay.
You know, not everyone's so easygoing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
So we have we'll have June 18th, if that's, I need a motion to continue until June 18th.
I move that we continue this project till June 18th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so we'll be getting more information from a bunch of you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Next one, Safe Harbor,
You're
3
continued
Green
to
Street.
June 4th, I think.
Yep, they're continued until June 4th. Where did I put that one? Wait. That one's right there. Then the one after that is Wareham Lakeshore Drive, 33 Wareham Lakeshore Drive. Do we have a DEP file number now?
We do.
Okay. I think that's all that was waiting for that, was the DEP.
Yes.
Does anybody have any additional questions on this activity, now that we have a DEP filing? Jessica? Scott?
Nope.
Paula Jean?
Thank you.
Michael?
Nope.
Kwame?
No.
Christine? You said all this time, and we have nothing for you. Okay, so, anybody online, or there's not one in the audience, but, anything? Christine, any comments on it?
No, we've gone over a lot of the details of this particular project in this hearing, well, in the hearing last and also in the office.
Okay.
So,
So,
Motion to close the hearing.
thank you.
Second.
And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, aye, 500. We're closed. And Christine, your recommendation?
standard order of conditions. I didn't have any.
Nothing else? No additional?
We already have the sieve analysis for the sand, so we
Okay.
don't need that. That would be the one thing that I would be looking for.
And you have it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So moved.
I have
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Second.
And all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 500. Done. Please see Christine before you start your work. Thank you. All right, and we now have an amended order of conditions for 72B Burgess Point Road. Is there anybody here for this discussion? Online?
Brian Wallace.
Okay.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, can you identify yourself, please?
Hi, Brian Wallace with JC Engineering.
All right. Talk to us about you want to change.
All right, so we are just looking for approval of an amended order of conditions request that modifies the retaining wall location and associated pool and patio in the rear of the house. So the final plans for the pool were developed and they moved them a bit further away from the house towards the water and the coastal bank. I put together a comparison plan, which I hope the commission had a chance to look at, that sort of lays out the new wall compared to the former wall, and then also compared to the original wall location. I don't know if I'm able to pull that up, or Christine, would you
Yeah, give me one
be
second.
able to? Okay.
Brian, if you got it up already, you can share your screen.
I do, yeah. So let me, I wasn't sure if I could or not here. All right. Can you see that plan?
Yep.
Okay. So the black wall represents what we are requesting be approved. The green wall represents the current wall location, which was approved during the previous amendment request, and the magenta is the original wall that was submitted with the original notice of intent application. So compared to what is currently approved, we're moving about 10.3 feet closer to the water, and we go back into that coastal bank 100-foot offset. Compared to the original wall, we're still further away, 93.2 feet compared to 86 originally. The project doesn't change the limit of work or any clearing. It was all pre-approved as shown on the plan here. So really the only change is to the wall location, and we wanted to make sure, since it was moving closer to the water, that the commission, it wouldn't be a surprise to the commission when we go for the COC. So.
Okay. Are you making the pool bigger or just moving the whole thing closer to the water?
Yeah, the pool is approximately the same size. It's a little bit of a different shape, but it's right up against the wall as it previously was, and everything's just moving a little bit closer to the water.
Okay. Jessica, questions?
No questions.
Scott?
Can you tell us why you're asking for this change, why you're moving the pool?
It was just, the way the final plans for the pool were drawn out, but it's just a preference by the applicant to propose it this way and build it.
So there were no structural reasons or engineering reasons?
Nope, nothing like that. Just preference.
Thank you.
Paula Jean?
No questions, thank you.
Michael?
No questions, thank you.
Kwame?
No, none at this time, thanks.
Was that splash section already there on the previous plan?
No, there was no I forget the exact term for it. There was nothing
Oh,
like
tog,
that there.
is that
Yeah,
called the tog pool? The tog? So you're moving it out so you can have this little splash over area?
Yeah, that's part of it. That's a part of the reason it's getting a little bit further out. So, you know, it's sort of, if you're looking at the pool from the house, it's, you know, water can spill over and it will get recirculated back into the pool system there.
Okay, so if someone does a belly flop, it won't wash over into the soil?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, sorry. Comments, please, Christine?
So you guys had already started to do this work.
Yes, the pool is being laid out this way as we speak. Yep.
Yeah.
So the work was done before permitted?
Yes.
200?
200. And your erosion controls closer towards the water, there, we can see that you have the electrical running underneath that pier. There do need to be erosion controls fully over that area, and they should also be reestablished since they are looking a little worse for wear.
Understood. I'll relay that to the applicant, and they'll get that taken care of.
All right.
Can I ask one little ancillary question?
Yep.
I'm not familiar with how these things are done here, but when a pool is emptied, you know, for maintenance, where does that water go?
At our previous, it was said it has to be pumped out. It cannot be drained. It has to be removed by a,
Into a truck?
and that was
and
on the
hauled away.
previous conditions.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay, anything else? Any other questions on the board? Commission, why do I call you a board? You're a commission. I don't know the difference.
Some might
Anyway,
be bored.
Yeah. If nothing else,
Make a motion to close the hearing?
thank you.
Second.
And a second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. Hearing's closed. Christine, your recommendation?
Recommend to approve the amended order with the $200 fine for starting the work before the approval and with the erosion controls to be redone.
Upgraded.
And
Okay. So moved.
So that's the motion, and I had a motion,
Second.
and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained. We're done?
Yep.
So continue working once you get your extra paperwork from Christine, okay?
All right, will do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right,
I hope that $200 fine doesn't shock them too much.
While they're sitting in their pool house.
Right.
Just kidding.
I know. I would like to make it more, but we can talk about that.
Per day.
Yes. All right. What happened to Weeby?
the last time, you mean Webby?
Hmm?
Do you mean Webby?
Webby?
The last time that I'd spoken with him, they were filling out a notice of intent. I'm not sure if they've gotten it
Okay,
to
so
me
we're
yet.
waiting for a notice of, okay.
Yeah.
NOI do. All right. Okay, we're down to certifications of compliance. Right?
Yes.
Okay. It's up to you.
Right, so for SE 76697, I recommend issuance of certificate of compliance.
So moved.
I have that motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. Done. Next, please.
For SE 762850, recommend issuance of certificate of compliance.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. Done.
For 762794, recommend issuance of a certificate of compliance.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. Next, please.
762116, recommend issuance of a certificate of compliance.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That's old.
Yes.
Oh, next, please.
For 762764, recommend issuance of a certificate of compliance.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Next, please.
For 762801, recommend issuance of certificate of compliance.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. 500, please continue.
For
Next.
762852, recommend issuance of certificate of compliance.
So moved.
I have a
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
500, done. And can we help you? You're so... Oh, okay. I just... All right.
I was already set there, like, why are you still here?
So we have, I believe we're down to a set of minutes from April 2nd, 2025. I provided some corrections to Christine. Have they been accommodated?
Yes.
What would someone like to do about the April 2nd, 25 set of minutes?
Move to accept?
You can't.
I'm suggesting.
Yes, move to
Motion
accept the
to
minutes.
approve the
I
minutes.
have a move, I have a motion to approve the minutes of April 2nd.
Second.
And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstain. We're done with approving of the minutes. Okay, anything else?
No.
Appointments, we're waiting on that.
You
right?
guys had wanted to speak about Maple
Oh,
Springs.
Maple Spring. We all got a email regarding the applicant filing a, what is it called? Appeal or whatever,
For a superseding
superseding order,
conditions, yeah.
and that was because we did not vote on it. We did a,
Oh, that
what's,
one, yeah.
106 or 106, and I know Jessica had to abstain because you did not attend minutes, and I made sure that the minutes of April 2nd reflected that you abstained because you were not here for all the hearings. I wanted to make sure that was clear as to why you abstained. So it was just, we're going to lose this one. We have no standings on it. So we'll see what the state has on it. But here's a question for Director of Planning. Since Conservation did not approve it, isn't there a requirement for planning to have our approval for them to approve? Did that make sense? I mean,
Yes,
it's-
it did. So the zoning bylaw says that an applicant needs an order of conditions, whether that be a superseding order of conditions
Okay.
or an order of conditions approved by you guys. It doesn't really specify. It's kind of a little bit of a gray area, but also I think if someone appealed it based off of the fact that they have a superseding order and not just an order from you guys, they would likely win that argument in court as well.
So the
Because,
state provides something on which the planning board can move on.
correct.
All right.
And I wouldn't say you guys are totally handcuffed on this one yet. The superseding order does come with a superseding order of conditions site visit, which me and Christine will definitely attend. You guys are more than welcome. We can try to make an argument for conditions or our reason of no action at that meeting. And then if there is a superseding order issued by the state, we could always appeal it to the Court of Appeals.
But when you meet with the state, you can provide them with all the conditions we would have implied to this project. So,
11 conditions.
And it's,
yeah, there were
it's-
11, yeah.
Yes.
It's, I haven't seen many projects where the state takes conditions that the commission has presented. Though, I guess you guys still have 2 more bites at the apple to get your conditions approved, as this project requires a variance from the zoning board, and it requires site plan review in front of the planning board.
So we can take our case to zoning and planning and ask them to include our 11 conditions in their findings.
That's correct.
What's that process?
So they'll go to the zoning board of appeals first for a variance because the zoning bylaw requires that there be setbacks from the property line. And this project runs right through the center of a property line as it's shared by 2 applicants. So they're going to need a variance for setbacks. And then currently under our bylaw, all site plan review goes in front of the planning board. And for solar projects specifically, those are reviewed under section 590 of the zoning bylaw, where we have standards for solar and battery energy storage systems specifically. So,
How do we convey our conditions or our proposed conditions and have them entered, or is there a process by which we provide those to the other respective boards?
yeah, so you can, so under site plan review, I'll say almost every commission in town has the ability to provide comment. And there's, I think it's a 21-day timeline for that to happen. You guys also benefit from having me sitting in the planning and zoning board meetings.
Do you need one of us there to present our 11 conditions? You will handle that?
Email or letter or something signed by the commission would be fine.
If you could draft that?
Sure.
If you could draft that, I'd be happy to sign it on behalf of the Conservation Commission, and let anybody objects to that.
No, that's great, if that's okay, so that the legality of how we can share that information, make sure that's in front of everyone.
Yep, so the planning board currently, under their site plan and solar projects specifically, go into this period where they do a finding of fact collection, where they close the public hearing and then allow individuals to submit findings of fact. And this is something that could be introduced at that time, and it would be voted on by the planning board.
So you'll see that that is all.
You'll watch out for us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Got it.
Josh, how does it look to the zoning board or the planning people that this commission was not able to pass that, that set of conditions? Does it weaken their ability to include those, or how would they look at it, you think?
They would look at it a lot stronger if you had denied it. But I think when they look at that, specifically the planning board needs an order of conditions to move on the application, which if the state issues one, they'll have checked that box, so to speak. I would say the zoning board is very acute to public comment, meaning that they take the public participation very seriously when they're issuing their variances. The planning board is probably just as equally interested in public comment as well, especially when it comes to these solar projects. You see a lot of public comment that the board takes very seriously.
Okay, thanks.
Question, where are we with that project? They want to put the solar panels over the drainage. Anything happening there?
They had, I'll call it like off-the-record conversation with the planning board and how they would handle that application.
Like they came to us,
Yeah.
off the record.
Yeah, exactly. The same way they presented it to you, the planning board was pretty receptive of it. So I would likely anticipate them filing a notice of intent for that project.
And the last update is that the select board last night approved the conservation restrictions on the two that we signed at our last meeting for the Weweantic River corridor. So it's done. All right? Anything else? Any comments, Christine, Josh? Anything else on the board?
Question. So by abstaining, we failed, oh, sorry. By abstaining, or we failed to act on that timely, and in
Yeah.
doing so, we gave up our jurisdiction
Under the bylaw?
under the bylaw.
Yep. Yeah.
Just so we're clear as
Yeah.
a commission of what the consequences are for failure to act on something.
Right.
Yes. We used our heart, not our head. That's me. That's my comment. Okay. Anything else? No other comments? Josh, Christine, we're done? Anybody want to take a hint at what's going to happen at 7:40?
The Celtics tip-off?
Oh, no, we're
Maybe in
out.
2026.
Retroactively.
Oh, that was a funny one.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn.
Second
And a
that.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. We thank you very much. Thank you, Wareham. We have a lot of documents to sign.
Again?
We're off.